Ho, 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 and welcome to the second part of episode 9, the season finale and Christmas special of Cause and Effect, a show about VTES. Today we are talking about Ahrimanes, and now we're going to... and of course, if you have missed the first part, go back and check that out before checking this part out, because we're going to talk in circles and stuff we need to hear later. Anywho. Check out that part first. But now we will talk about a different Ahrimanes deck. Isaac, I believe. Would you do me the honors of
introducing the deck?
Yes, of course.
I'll introduce away. Okay, this is a deck created and played by Robert Scythe in Berkeley, California, a 14-player tournament. So, not the biggest tournament, but I think it's...
kudos anyway.
Yeah, kudos anyway. 14-player tournament is not easy to win. I tried a few weeks ago. Did not succeed. Okay, anyways, this is more of toolboxy nature. Robert Scythe had a more extensive description, but we cut it to make the deck fit. So this deck, it stealths more, blocks about as much, I think. This is 10 wakes instead of some 14 or something, so it's not too far off. Yeah, and it's based around Howler, Siamese, and Cynthia Ingold, so...
Okay, so what do you think is the thought process about, like, having this crypt? For me, it stands out, like, kind of weird.
4 of each?
Yeah.
This is a very Spiritus-focused deck. So, score balance 10, Speaker Spirit 10, Ears of the Hair 2, that's 22 cards, plus 2 Leapfrog, that's 24, plus 12 Citizens of the Stag, that's 36 Spiritus cards. And you have 6 Inkling Fury, 1, so that's 7 more, that's 43, plus Mauritius Core, that's 45. 45 Spiritus cards, so that's 50%.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason why, because the reasoning, I think, goes something like this. I can't get more than 3 minions. I really don't want minions without Superior Spiritus. There are 3 minions with Superior Spiritus. I picked the 3 minions with Superior Spiritus.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because if you are unable in, say, like... 95% of the games get more than 3 minions out, then there's really no point in playing more than 3 minions. Strictly mathematically speaking.
But
I'm not
also
saying that 3 minions is enough to win, but if that's the case with the deck, then it makes sense.
If there's, the situations where you would want to get a 4th minion, it might be that things are going so well that you're gonna win even if you don't bring out the 4th minion.
Yeah.
Is,
okay, so this deck bleeds, obviously.
Come again?
This deck, it bleeds.
Yes. 8 social charms, 2 Heart of the City, so... and 1 entrancement. It's try to use square balance, which is more or less stealth for Ahrimanes. It gives minus intercept to everyone except those with Spiritus and or Flight. So that's a lot of vampires that get minus 1 or 2 intercept, depending if you have Superior or Inferior. I think a nice addition in this deck is Pack Alpha.
Yeah.
Going back to this problem with actions. Oh yeah, that's square balance. Since this deck has some 37 actions, Pack Alpha can really help you getting Ramus by in a successful block. Saves you some actions.
Yeah, because Pack Alpha is, what does it do?
It's essentially a concealed weapon, but for animal retainers. You can also use it to like destroy a animal retainer to get +1 strength. I'm guessing he doesn't use Pack Alpha for that, or done occasionally. I guess this mostly for the concealed animal retainer stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to cycle with Murder of Crows. Like Murder of Crows is obviously a bit better, but if you just want to cycle it, then changing one environmental for a +1 strength it's fine to cycle the card like that.
Yeah, or if you are in a low stealth table, for instance, you can destroy a Raven Spy to make that + strength and get Howler even more efficient in close combat.
Yeah.
There's some things here that's kind of weird. This is there's no combat in this deck, so it's more or less you rely or no combat except for the wisdom of the stag stuff. No like additional animalism combat. So you more or less try to rely on the inherent strength and maneuver of Howler, and you try to stealth through your stuff and bleed your prey. Yeah, and leapfrog, that's combat ends. So rather than trying to get better combat capabilities, you have 2 leapfrogs for those situations where you can't win combat-wise. But I'm guessing you need to be in a low combat environment to make this work.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
Adam, what do you think about like the master package? It's quite like standard, right?
Yeah, he's really made an effort to which I'm a bit impressed about. Is that I only have 12 masters in 90 cards. That's a really good amount. I wouldn't have made exactly the same choices. As I said, I like DIs a lot with Ahrimanes. Even if you're gonna bleed a lot, I like DIs. So maybe Club Zombie is a bit too expensive.
Yeah, we should talk about Club Zombie. Is it playable?
I don't think so. It's counterintuitive. You don't pay 4 pool to be defensive.
Yeah.
It's a bit strange actually for me. Intercept location for 4 pool, which you can use it to gain a blood instead, but then you can't use it for intercept, and then it's a really bad hunting ground. I don't like it at all. But
Yeah, go on.
I like that the master package is slimmed like this, because I think it's I actually like decks a lot that have few masters. So I think that works really well. You won't get a master hand clog very often with this deck.
So what do you think about adding Guardian Angel to this kind of deck? I would say it's like, at first glance it seems intuitive, because you get the intercept and you get a prevent. But I would say that you don't need it in the deck because of Howler special and the cards you have already. Or am I wrong?
I would agree. Angling Fury and Vulture's Buffer, there's a lot of them as well in this deck. So that also changes the equation a bit. You can get a lot of blood fast with this deck.
Yeah.
So it's aggravated damage, maybe.
Yeah, that would be the one thing that it is actually good for. Poke damage. Because I don't think you are that afraid of target vitals, which is the other big reason to play Guardian Angel if there are a lot of target vitals. Yeah. Because you have the maneuvers and the presses in Swift and the Stag and Howler special. So I don't really think you need that prevent. I also find it kind of odd that he elected not to play Mole Tunneling at all. It's called that. The other stealth card.
Mole's Tunneling, yeah.
What does it do?
That's stealth. 1 stealth for 1 blood or 2 stealth for 2 blood.
No.
Superior 2 stealth for 2 blood. So that's another stealth card to diversify the stealth package. Because now the deck is kind of easy to anticipate. Of course, maybe his opponent doesn't know that, but you're only able to get the additional 3 stuff, and you can't get any more than that. But with some bolt handling, you can get some additional.
Yeah. Let's see, we were talking a little bit earlier about the retainers and Pack Alpha. It's also packing in Mauritius Call, which is a good card.
Yeah, I think anytime you play Howler, I think at least playing one Mauritius Call is worth it. Worth the slot, because untapping out end of turn, that's a break.
We should probably take the card up if people don't know what it is.
Yeah, it's up.
It's up. Okay, so.
Yeah,
I like it. It slims the deck as well. You play Mauritius Call and you remove a Raven Spy from your deck. So in a way you have 7 Raven Spies, like 7 cards you can draw to get a Raven Spy. But when you play Mauritius Call, you make the deck 1 card smaller.
Yeah.
So that's nice as well.
And you untap, and the Raven Spy gets the additional life. That's a total of 3 life if you have superior animalism. And that could also be the difference between it surviving something or not surviving something.
Okay, so what might be obviously, but okay, how is it played and how do you win with it?
The deck, it's more or less you play it like the same way. I think that's part of the strength of the deck, because if you face in a 14-player tournament, like this is probably a local tournament, most people probably know his deck. But if you play in an environment where no one knows your deck, you might, for a very long time, get your opponents to think that you actually play a dedicated rock deck, and get fear, or your people playing too cautiously because they think you're blocking a lot. So that's you tap into like the reputation of the basic or standard Howler deck. But other than that, you bring up Howler first, I'd say, or maybe you start with the lowest cap. I think it depends a bit on the table whether or not you start with the lowest cap or highest cap. But then you start getting your stuff, and I think you bleed steadily every turn. And I do think that the Heart of the City, at least one of them, put into play kinda early or early-ish, is good. Because then you have Siamese and maybe Howler with Heart of the City, and you have a steady bleed of 5 on the table. So that compensates for the low number of minions in play.
Okay. So, Adam, weaknesses. Is it the same like the standard Howler deck, or?
I think Blood is a weakness. If you can start blocking Dangling Furies, this player won't be able to sustain like the steady pressure during the entire game. He won't be able to kill 3 players to get the game win. So that might be a thing. Like, good thing to know if you're playing against a deck like this. The Angling Furies and the 1 Vulture Buffet is, I think it's really important to make them happen.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Any parting words?
Yeah, I'd like to highlight 2 more points. First off, we have the chats stating that Cynthia has a plus strength versus Camarilla. And that makes her a smaller Howler, air quoting here. Maybe, depending on the opponents, you might get the extra strength if you face a lot of Camarilla. And Camarilla is probably the most common sect, I'd say. And the other part being that I don't know why, because this is played after the release of Airster Blood, but he doesn't play the Poth. Maybe it's worth it, maybe it's not, I'm not sure, but like 10 square balance, that's 10 blood. So it might be an option to play Poth of Harmony, it's called. Yeah, for Spirituals for Ahrimanes, of course, obviously. Yeah, just want to highlight those 2 things.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe we should mention High Top, because it was in both decks and it's a good ally. So, Adam.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like High Top, like, just looking at the card, like this, without context, High Top is a good card. The thing that is that he doesn't fit very well with Ahrimanes, in my opinion. They already have really good intercept cards, and they don't have like a good way of bloating. The only way is the Masters, Vessel, and Villain, which is, in my opinion, not that good, just for bloating. It does less damage, and it's really expensive. I just don't see him fit that well with the clan, even though it's nice when you have him out, and he's like helpful, but it's nothing special about him.
I think he's okay. My biggest issue is for pool. I think that's a bit on the expensive side for what you get. Because he's nice, he got the intercept, you have the option to rush, and he can play basic celerity card. That means he can play the Outfarrier on the Swiss node of the Stag. So he got some synergy with the rest of the clan, but mostly allies are very weak, and especially even though werewolves do have the regeneration ability, 3 life is not a lot. That's 1 aid from bats and 1 Karen Kraus and is dead, and that's 4 pool wasted. And at least in my opinion, the animalism too common, and if you don't face animalism, it's like 1 intercept. It's not a lot. I'm agreeing with Adam, but trying to highlight some different points, especially the point of him being twice. In a way, he's like Colton. He blocks. He doesn't do too much damage. He got the regeneration, so best case scenario, he lives the entire game. And then it's a Colton for 4 pool instead of 2 pool.
Yeah.
So, that's my issues.
Okay, sweet. So, what do you think about the deck?
I've tried a few times to play Toolbox Ahrimanes. I'm not the biggest fan of toolboxes, and I've stated this many times before, so you should know this by now. But so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. I always end up in a situation where I don't have the cards I need on my hand.
Yeah.
Like, I want to bleed, I have the monsters on my hand. I want to block, I have bleed on my hand. I don't want to stealth, I have intercept on my... it's always the wrong set of cards on my hand. And that's probably me needing to get better at playing toolboxes, I guess, because people do win with them, but I don't agree with toolboxes.
Adam, what do you any last thoughts or words about the deck?
I like to compare it to like an Auspex Dominate deck, say Venture Grinder or something like that, in the essence that it's supposed to oust by bleeding, but you have a lot of defensive cards. So while this deck list might not be the one I'd make, if you put in more Dreams and Heart of Nitritus and make it 70 cards, I think it's not, maybe not tier 1. Like the Venture Grinder will always be better, but it's I think it's like competitive if you do that.
Okay.
But Heart of Nitritus, I think, is needed to avoid the situations Isaac are talking about where you don't have the cards you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Then we're done with that deck. Kudos for winning and such. So, are there any like other variations of the theme of Ahrimanes that you would like to discuss?
I can talk a bit about the 60 card one I've talked about.
Yeah.
Which is the idea was when Acid of Blood was released with the Path of Harmony and Charge of the Buffalo.
Okay, take up Charge.
Yes. Charge of the Buffalo is a rush, which is like, if not blocked, range is automatically closed and the active vampire gets 2 additional damage with the first strike. So it's a rush that is good for close range combat, and strength of the bear is +1 strength, remainder of combat with an optional press.
Are we taking it up as well?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And this works quite well with the Karen Kraus, since that's additional damage as well every turn, and the press makes both of them do more damage. And while this combination, like the strength of the bear, existed before, I didn't like it because it cost a blood. If you compare it to Swift Notice Fag, which is like the long range card, if you want to call it that. But since they released the Path of Harmony, you can play Strength of the Bear for free. And Howler has plus strength. Cynthia Ingold has plus strength against Camarilla. So both of them are nice with close range combat. So it's a rush and block deck with Path of Harmony and Strength of the Bear, which I didn't like the deck because I didn't build it correctly. If I stuck in there and tried to build it a bit more like dog-headedly, maybe it'd been better in the end. But I played like 2 games with it and only won 1. So it's like, it works kind of well, but it needs some optimizing. It's a good idea. I like it.
But why is it better than just Animalism Rush?
The cards actually make you do more damage than... Like, Animalism Combat is always 3 damage each round. It's never more. And if you have 1 press against, or... well, it's not the case, sorry. It's not the case with 5. So, yeah. But it's 3 damage each round, and... Majesty is really good with it, and... This... Okay, I'm just rambling, sorry. Strength of the Bear, you can play, like, a lot of them, and do a lot of damage. Like, 2 of them are 2 presses with Karen Kraus, that's... 4 damage, 4 strength for Howler. With Karen Kraus, 6 damage each round, and you can press and you do 6 damage again.
Yeah, so it means it's a harder hitter.
Yeah, and Taste of Vita, you get blood back.
Additionally, they, or at least the group 2 and 3 crypt is really bad when it comes to animalism. Only Howler has superior, and this way, but like playing not mono Spiritus, but very high focus on Spiritus, you get a bigger synergy, because the 3 vampires that we saw earlier, Cynthia Ingold, Simis, and Howler, all 3 have the superior Spiritus, and it taps into Blessing of the Beast. So it's each time you draw Blessing of the Beast, you have a bigger chance of getting rid of a big chunk of cards. And the more cards you get rid of with the Blessing of the Beast, the better the Blessing of the Beast is. Because Strength of the Bear replaces Aid from Bats, basically.
Cool. So any other like variations?
Yeah, it's the group 3, 4, 5, where you have Marisha and Effie Lowry, which are 2 most important vampires, and the others are Sahana, I need to check, and Genta Shale. So that's a 7 cap and a 5 cap, with which have superior animalism and superior spiritus, and then you have a 5 cap and a 6 cap, which both have superior animalism and inferior spiritus. So, and these 4 vampires also have access to Stick and Beetleman. So you can build a much more animalism-focused deck. Like, ordinary animalism block is kind of weak or weak-ish, because you need to build up so much, because they have lack transient intercept. But through this script, you get 4 Ahrimanes with superior animalism, and can do the classic tried and true animalism combat, which is very, very strong. And you also get the swiftness of the stags, so you get the additional control in combat that we talked earlier about. And yeah. Basically, if you want to do Spiritus animalism, I recommend this script, and you could add spontaneous power or maybe Vision Quest, but I don't recommend Vision Quest. I'd rather recommend spontaneous power, because you don't waste an action and you don't run into the risk of getting blocked, etc., etc. And you block and you do combat.
I'd imagine it works quite nice to have Deep Song in a deck like this.
Yes, very.
Because, yeah, you get so much superior animalism and you can stealth them. Yeah.
And you get decent presence in this script as well. 3 of them have presence. Yeah. So 2 of them superior, so you could play some Public Trust or Entron Kindred, stuff like that. So
probably enhancement is anything you need.
More or less, basically it's a choice between, do you want to do more animalism focus or less animalism focus when it comes to choosing between the group 2 and the group 4. Or I'd say 4-5.
Okay, so like any other variations we should know about?
To the strength of the bear combat, it's very favorable to add target vitals also.
Yeah,
because if the basic strike is bigger, like you hit for 2 or 3, depending on who hits with strength of the bear, it's harder to prevent the initial damage, so that target vitals also gets neglected. So target vitals works better with more basic strength than it does with animalism combat.
Yeah. Awesome card anyway. Okay. So we're done with the variations then. So,
yeah.
Any parting words with the clan of Ahrimanes?
I'd like to, if you want to explore something with Ahrimanes, I don't remember the name of. What's that 9 cap that can... A voting one?
Voting one, the one with the protein.
The one that gets...
Sylvie. S-Y-L.
Sylvie Helgen.
Yeah.
If you want to try to make a voting one, I'm not sure how good that is, but yeah. There's that option, which might be funny. I don't know.
What's your special?
Yeah, you can burn a political card from your hand to get stealth or intercept with her. Which means obviously you need political cards in your hand.
And she doesn't have any votes.
No. She's a 9 cap. She got superior inclone plus superior protein. But I guess this is one of those vampires that we actually do need to wait for the new weekend release to actually get a good enough crit. Because, in my opinion, the only viable friend for her.
Regent.
That's hilarious. Her only viable friend, in my opinion, is Dobie Ebwe, something like that. So that's I get 2 Ahriman crits, not that cool. Regent is actually kind of awesome because you have the combat, so it doesn't matter if they rush you.
Yeah.
What was his name?
D-O-V.
Yeah.
E-Y.
What does it do?
He's a 6 cap Ahriman with superior spiritual, superior presence, inferior fortune, and inferior animalism.
Yeah. But he has he could work as a friend.
Yeah, but I think that's too little to work on, but might be a voting option. Seems like the worst option we've presented so far.
Maybe there's a reason why there's none of
no voting Ahrimanes in the TVD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, could be. So, anyway, then I think we will take goodbye of Howler and her friends.
Yes.
And we should talk a little bit about our side subject for the day.
Yeah.
Is that even a word? Anywho. Temptation of Great...
It's like side dish, but no.
Yeah.
It's like a side nipple.
Like a third nipple. Didn't know you wanted, but it's awesome. It's there. Anyway. No, but actually, I think it's a good comparison of the word, the card that we're going to describe, like Temptation of Great Power. It's like a third nipple.
It is?
Okay, you gotta explain this. How is this a third nipple?
Yeah, I didn't really.
Okay.
I didn't really think that one through. But like on the game in general, it's the third nipple of the game. It's a little bit in the way, but it's awesome. But it's wrong. And I don't know if I should like it or be freaked out about it.
I probably should like this particular nipple.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I think I brought that home nicely.
Yeah.
We should talk about this.
Yes, we should.
Adam, what is Temptation of Greater Power and what does it do?
Master card requires a Justice card. It costs 3 pool and you choose a vampire. That everyone gets to bid for control of that vampire and maybe indebted 5 pool, which you repay during your discard phase. And only one can be played each game.
Okay, so how that was kind of how does it work?
You play it. You play it, and you start bidding for control of a vampire that you choose. Like if you choose your prey, you can take his blocker and then kill him. Or if you have an annoying predator, you can take his vampire, or give the vampire to someone else, just to make sure that your predator doesn't have it. If you have a problem, like dealing with your predator.
Yeah, there's very much options. You can play it on your prey and make him pay, and depth himself for 5 pool and pay an additional 5 pool just keep a vampire. And you just do that for poops and giggles. Like, okay, I paid 3 pool to make you lose 5 now and an additional 5 over 5 turns.
It's like a personal involvement, but it's good.
So true.
Well, I think one legitimate comparison, since it's a master card that's played once per game, is Giant's Blood. And if you want to talk about Giant's Blood having a huge effect on the game for the player who gets to play it for 10 or 11 blood, this card has a even bigger effect most of the time. It's really, really strong. Of course, it requires a Justice card, so it's not available to anyone. I don't know. Yeah, most of the time it's just so much pool damage to your prey. I recently started playing with it, and it feels incredibly powerful, or incredibly annoying if you're subjected to it, of course.
But the thing is, there's no restrictions. You just pick a vampire. Okay, I'd like us to start bidding about who should control Eureka.
Yeah.
And making Eureka change Predator or change Methuselah. I mean, I can't think of any single effect in this game that is stronger than that.
No,
it's ridiculous.
If you want to compare it to something that's a bit more common, if you rush someone and put them in torpor with 0 blood, you almost remove them from the game. But that's a rush, which can be blocked by Jake or a smaller vampire and cost a lot of combat cards, and then you can someone play Majesty and maybe DI one of your combat cards. Just lots of things to do about it.
Yeah.
And Temptation to play Greater Power is one card that does so much.
Yeah,
it costs a lot of pool, but Just Cause can play Parity Shift, so it might actually just be a boon that it costs a lot of pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and also
go on.
it's not a lot of them, but some master decks use Just Cause, the AAA is the first one. Otsusari Lomas, the one he won Robicon 2010 with, is a Sibel deranged deck which you can play Temptation in, and there's also Hutzulpostli Obfuscate Dominate you can play with Lucinda Lastor. So there's a lot of them that you can, if you manage to steal someone, a 10 cap or a 11 cap that hasn't been villaned yet, you draw it early enough to do that, or if you draw it when someone just transferred it up, you can steal it and then pay any amount of blood, and then you can villain on Conduit.
Yeah.
Since the bidding is a bit chaotic, there's no order to bidding. It's the first guy who says a number, and then someone else has to bid something above that. So you have it on your hand, and you have the number you want to say figured out. So you play it, you announce target, and then you have, because of how social interaction works, you have the first opportunity to say a number. So you can really calculate what the opponents can do or can't do. And if you play this like a AAA, I think is a really good example, because that is a master heavy deck that plays villain, it plays parity shift. Overall, it's a very bloat heavy deck. So one of your biggest strengths is having a big buffer of pool. And if you can use Temptation of Greater Power to turn your pool into stealing Eureka or stealing whoever, really. Maybe you could tell that story about the game with the Helena.
Mm-hmm, sure. Yeah, during the games I played yesterday for Jonathan, I played a deck with Etrius and Lucian, and my prey was Helena block deck with which played Smiling almost the first turn, something like that. and he managed to catch me and put Lucian in torp make Lucian go to 0 blood, I think, something like that. But then I draw Temptation of Greater Power and I play it, and I just played. I say 13, and he has to pay 14 to get it then. And if he pays 14, he'll die on his own Smiling Jack.
You said that for Helena, or?
Yeah, Helena, my prey. And at that point, when it wasn't sudden, and I said 13, no matter what happened, I would kill him.
Yeah.
Because I'd have Obfuscate... Helena is an Obfuscate Dominate minion. I have Obfuscate Dominate on 3 guys, and he has like a 3 cap. And he has 13 pool. I'll just bleed him out that turn. Or he pays 14 and he gets to keep Helena but dies in his untap phase.
Yeah.
So that's like... the game went from me having... I was more or less out of that game. I didn't have any big chance. I had a Bleeding Predator and Helena as a blocking prey, and he's already managed to start blocking me. So, but then I played the Temptation of Greater Power and I got a victory point before I was ousted.
But that's a great story.
Cool.
Actually,
story,
nicely played. I would like to discuss how do we feel about these master cards? There's so big effect on the game, like Giant's Blood that we have talked a little bit about before, and now Temptation of Greater Power. What
do you mean within the logic of the game, or what outside the game, like banning or unbanning? Which
within the logic of the game at first.
Inside the logic of the game. To put it simple, if you do play with 3 or 4 Justicars in your crypt, do play this card. I really can't see any reason not to. Maybe if you play a deck that gets really low in pool and you can't really afford, but on the other hand...
Yeah, parity shifts.
I have a very hard time not seeing a deck that don't play this card. It's very weird. And sometimes I hear this excuse: no, I don't know which minion to pick and what number to state. I haven't played with Temptation of Greater Powers. I'm not that into what I should pick and not pick. Yeah, that even bigger reason to play it. Play it until you know it and know what to do with it, because if you put cards and rank them by impact on game, this probably probably number 1, at least top 5.
Yeah, it's slightly better than Protect I Know.
Yeah, because you get
the minion yourself.
Yeah, and
there's also another,
and it's not banned.
It's not banned as well. That's
yes, you're not cheating when you play it, even though it feels like that if you.
But Adam, without the logic of the game, we don't usually discuss banning or so. We preach the gospel that you should use every available tool.
Yeah, I don't like balance discussions since I don't think they're fruitful. But my comment on it is that I don't like the redeeming quality of only one X can be played in a game. I don't think it makes the card it's not an excuse to make a card that's really powerful, since it makes it it's just a lottery, and it's quite. I wouldn't say it's boring, because you can play Sudden Reversal or you can work around it. It's still a problem that can be solved, but really strong cards that can only be played once a game is not necessarily good card design.
Yes,
my opinion.
This is another reason to play Sudden Reversal. Sudden Reversal is probably, and I know that in the EC lecture I stated the other way around, but this is another reason to play Sudden Reversal. Pentex, your playing villain, obviously being other reasons. I really can't find the words. I hope that our audience grasps how insanely big of an impact on a game this card does. It's
also there's also a consideration is that if you play a Justicar yourself, it's very likely that you can't lose a minion. So that means you can't be subjected to Temptation of Greater Power. So that makes it another benefit of playing it, is that you will not be receiving it later in the game.
Yeah, of course. So, I think we will leave that discussion with those words. Try out to play Temptation of Greater Power. It's an awesome card. Now, I would like to ask you guys, starting with Adam, what do you wish for Christmas?
I wish to have a nice VTES Eve.
Yes.
Explain our tradition. We have a tradition of playing VTES during the Christmas Eve, and which is the highlight of the Christmas. And I'd like that to be fun. It seems it'll be great.
The event of the
one
year.
should state that in Sweden we celebrate Christmas Eve and not Christmas Day. So this is like the real Christmas Day or Eve is used for VTES by us.
Done this like for 8 years or something.
Yeah.
We're hard set in our traditions. Oh, cool. So what do you wish for this Christmas, Isaac?
Sensory deprivation.
No.
The word or the feeling?
The card.
You know what I brought for you for Christmas, Isaac?
Brought or bought?
Brought.
Or
Crabs.
No, Scoburg's deck for VTES Eve.
I'm so not looking forward to that.
We're gonna have it.
I really... Oh, I was... let's go.
Okay,
Well,
I probably should state this. I had a really bad experience with a Scoburg's deck during this year's EC. And I lost my temper.
Which is a really shameful thing in Sweden.
Yes.
Anders, what do you wish for Christmas?
Could I say world peace?
Yes.
No.
No, you know which world peace. God, no.
Touch of clarity, maybe. I have like 2 or 3, but I would like to have one more. No. I know what I actually like really want for Christmas is of course a Heart of Nishitas, because I don't have one and it fucking kills me.
You don't?
I don't have...
You don't talk me earlier. I threw them away as candy.
I hate you. We should get together.
I hate you, we should get together.
Okay. How about Christmas Eve?
Yeah, let's... Okay, we have drifted away. So I would like to thank you guys for having us. It was awesome to discuss with you guys. And this is, like I said, the end of the first season. So any comments of the first seasons before we take a job? Hold on.
Thanks for watching. It's been a blast, and I'm pretty sure we've already started planning the second season, so hopefully it'll be even better.
Yes.
Yeah. There's been a lot more fun than I thought, and talking about VTES, or at least when we three come together and talk about VTES, do take a lot of more time than I realized. When we started this, I think we said that one episode will be about 40 minutes, if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And we are 2 hours, almost 2 hours per episode.
And then we cut away stuff as well.
Yeah.
We could talk more than 2 hours.
Yeah. This is trying to keep the conversation like to a minimum.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, I would like to thank you two guys. Of course, it's been awesome, and our audience for all the feedback and all the love. It's really what keeps us going. So big up to you. And we will be back for a new season starting the 10th of January. And you should keep on sending in decks for our challenge that Pascal challenged you guys to make Count Your Main deck. And the challenge deadline is the 15th. And of course, we will also film our VTES night for Christmas and probably put it up the YouTube with some Benny Hill music or something. It would be awesome for you guys to watch. So, okay. Well, thanks everyone for watching. And remember, if you have any thoughts, comments, or ideas, you can post it on our Facebook page or send an email to the address below, which is causeampersandeffect at gmail.com. After the episode, we will post a thread on beacon.net where you can continue the discussion and have a nice time. So, season's greetings. Have a good holiday season.
Yeah.
Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye. Take care.